just love seeing the cockpit all illuminated like this, the city lights passing below on the otherwise pitch-black landscape. And that beautiful sunset over the horizon, although it'll probably be completely dark by the time we arrive, or at least sometime during this mission. Which is honestly just how I like it. Hello everyone! And welcome back, once again, to DCS World. And this time around, I wanted to do a mission that would really emphasize, like, the atmospherics of this, just how it can have that clash between the sort of comfy nature of being up here in what in this moment feels almost like being in our gaming chair, but all the way up here at 10,000 feet, nothing but the sounds of our instruments and engines behind us. But also the somewhat sinister side of this. I mean, we are on our way to end a whole lot of lives in a way that's kind of like swatting flies. So anyway, the first thing we're going to want to do is turn on our TGP, which is our targeting pod, set it to white-hot thermal mode, and see what's ahead of us, and start looking for targets. Now, the story that we've got going for this mission is that the dictator of this small desert country has been enacting human rights abuses against his people, the rebels are rising up, and we are going to come in here and assist by eliminating military equipment. And right off the bat, I can already see some enemy armor up ahead, T-72s getting ready to circle the wagons and defend this capital city, but that's not the only thing. See, if we look on our RWR here, our radar warning receiver, we see these dog-ear radars are tracking us. That'll be one of these guys right here. Right next to it is an SA-13 surface-to-air missile system. Those are extremely short-range, like they can only engage within a few miles. But when paired with a dog-ear radar, they can get a bit more out of that. Now, our friendly air campaign will have already destroyed most of the greater air defenses, but there's still smaller things like that present in the city. So we're just going to kind of look in that area and try to see what else we can see. Is there something there? No. Oh, there is something over here, though. We got a couple more tanks hiding in those ruins. We want to look out for anything mobile. Now, if we look forward, yep, as we're starting to arrive, you can kind of see all that AAA firing, all those guns firing into the air, and it's a terrible and beautiful sight. Now, the other thing I want to look for is more over here. You can see a whole lot of smoke. That is the airfield. Oh, there's a helicopter flying this way. I can't tell if that's friendly. It's probably not friendly. But down there... Oh! I was just gonna get ready to explain this, but what we just witnessed was the impacts of several JDAMs. In fact, if we look over here, you see that 20 and 21 flying by. You can probably barely see that, but that's a pair of friendly F-15s that have just destroyed some air assets on the ground. Do I see anything more over there? There's a couple of armored vehicles watching the edge of that place, but that's not really what I'm after at this moment. Okay, so over in this main little field over here, that's where we've got an SA-13 and some tanks. I'm imagining... Oh, there are things there. I'm imagining that that's probably the main body of what we're looking for. I'm just scanning around a little bit to see if there's anything else. Oh, wait! Hang on, no, I just spotted a column of moving tanks down here. Alright, that's
Warning, autopilot.
A little closer than I would like, so I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Yep. And we are going to switch to our Maverick missiles. So what we're gonna do now is point the nose towards them. Our TGP will show us where we're looking relative to them, and we can get the Mavericks to look directly at them. Oh, that is so close. And 1, 2, looks like 5 tanks in total. Nope, come on. 3, 4, 5. And that is 5 air-to-ground missiles away. These things pack a very big punch. Only issue, I was not expecting this convoy, certainly not right below me. And so that's 5 of our 6 Mavericks right there, and we need those to hunt the tanks that we knew were going to be here. So now we can watch and see if that's effective. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God, that is so satisfying. I'm going to start turning away because as I've been going towards them, I have not been paying the least bit of attention to these air defenses. I can see relatively where they are to me. They are spiking me. I don't know if they're close enough to actually do anything about me right now, but look. You can see all those fires burning on the highway below. Alright, I'm gonna swing this thing back around, and I'm gonna start looking for the SA-13s that we know are there. Because destroying those air defenses is gonna be the first thing. The AAA that's down there is firing upward, but they're kind of blind firing. They don't actually have any way to see me, because I don't have any lights on. However, if I get too close... well, then they will. Look, we turn this way, away from the sunset. You can hardly see anything except for some faint, faint stars. And this is what I was hoping to kind of convey. Like 2 seconds ago, I was hyper-focused on these screens below me. It's like being in a submarine, waiting to see if my death will land where I decided to drop it. And then I look around and find that I'm just like floating in the void. Now, if we want, we can turn on our night vision, and that allows us to see ourselves and the terrain a bit more clearly. We don't want to use that all the time because our instruments are going to blind us. But it is something we can do if we become a little disoriented. Okay. Now we look over there. That white wedding cake right there and the green box around it, that shows us where our TGP, or our camera, is pointed. And so we can kind of use our own eyes to figure out where we want to position it, even before we look at the screen, and it makes it a lot easier to maintain our awareness. Now those lights over there, the blue and white, are obviously the airfield. We want to avoid that. I would bet that one of these SA-13s is probably there. But in this field I can also see, I can see a whole bunch of other things in that circular roundabout in front of those buildings. But I know that at least one of the SA-13s is here. So we'll get ready to deal with him. If we look over at the airfield, we can see those are those probably MiG-29s that the F-15s just hit. So we won't have to worry about any airplanes taking off to attack us. Actually, that whole airfield is burning. You can see tracer fire rising from the city. And yep, there we go. There is another SA-13 and dog ear combo platter. But we're going to deal with the closer one first. Okay, that on the radio is the F-18s, or F-15s leaving. So the launcher is our primary concern. So we are going to switch to our Hydra rockets. Like, those T-72s rolling down the road, just obliterated. No way for them to ever even know what hit them. One moment they're probably all incredibly anxious, driving down the road into a war zone. And the next, they're all just deleted, one after the other. The ones in the back, well, they were probably aware of what was happening. We have killed at least 15 people tonight, and it certainly doesn't feel like it. So now we've got our Hydra rocket selected. We're flying in, we're going to wait until we're about 4.5 miles away, as indicated by the numbers on the bottom right. And you can see that flashing L. That means that we are laser designating them. These are laser-guided rockets. So even if we peel away, even if we're not aiming directly on, those rockets should still find their way. Of course, there's always some room for things to go wrong. We're going to want to peel off in just a second because we don't want to get so low that some of that AAA might get lucky. There we go. That's one rocket away. And we're going to come back up and start gaining altitude. As long as we keep it off of our right wing, the camera should still be able to see it, and that rocket should hit. There we go. That's one down. And next I'm probably going to turn my attention to the airfield, but wait, oh, more things are spiking me. Yeah, that guy's panicking right now. It's probably him. They were tracking me, but the SA-13 did not fire. That little dot down there shows where it is. If the burning wreck of the SA-13 didn't already do that, it just exploded again. Alright, 3.2 miles. We're gonna fire that rocket. I'm worried we're turning right, so I'm worried we might lose the track. It might be better just to break the laser. There we go. Oh, that one popped. Wow, I don't know if I've really used one of these on a dog-ear radar before, but it certainly didn't hold up like a more armored vehicle would. Here's the problem I'm having now, is I thought there were two of these things, but I'm still seeing two, which means there's a third dog-ear radar somewhere. And probably a third SA-13 with it. So that's the one at the airfield. Is there somebody else down there? They would probably put it somewhere close to the depot where all these guys are. We get a better look at what's down there while we're at it. There's still some civilian traffic moving around them. I hope they get out of there. There's one of those AAA cannons firing. Firing at what? Who knows? It's atmospheric. I'm seeing a cluster of things over here. There it is! Yep, there's another SA-13 and another dog-ear. So we're gonna take them out first because they're closer.
Warning, autopilot.
And of course we're gonna want to try and avoid overflying the airfield because that would put us pretty close to the other one. If I fired a Maverick right now, I could probably get them both with one explosion. In fact, I believe in a recent update they really buffed the splash damage by like 30% or something like that. But for now, a better use would be these Hydra rockets, because right now this really is just setup. We got lucky in taking out a whole column of tanks early, but what we need right now is to make sure that there's nothing to threaten us in the skies before we start worrying about our mission on the ground. I'm actually a little lower than I would like. So let's start gaining altitude while trying to keep the camera on. And kaboom, that was a good hit. You're gonna run off, you're next. I mean, just think about this. We are this predator that I don't know if they would be able to hear our engines down there, but they certainly can't see us. They are frantically trying to take this thing down as explosions keep ringing out through the city. And they're just more or less really increasingly powerless to do anything about us. Those SA-13s are the only thing that can really threaten us. And I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't fired on us, given how close we've gotten in assistance with those dog ears. Alright, buddy, I think your time's just about up here. There we go. That's one more down. I know where you live, buddy. We fire this last rocket. I have, I think, 2 more left if this misses, and I want one of those for the radar. If this hits, though, that is it for SAMs in this city. You are up. Look at that. You actually did have me. You were raising your tubes to fire at me, but the rocket was already in the air, so it was too little too late. They really can't threaten me. This dog ear can't do anything to me anymore. And in fact, it's not tracking me. Huh. Is it gonna start? Oh, there you go. You're spiking me. Yep. You're trying to point me out to other SAMs that you have no idea just don't exist anymore. I'm gonna fire that rocket just to make the annoying beeping on my RWR stop. That's the level of pettiness I have as a god. There you go. Kaboom. And in a few seconds, everything up here should fall even more silent than when we began. There you go. See, that's the creepy side of the creepy and comfy of DCS for me, especially in these missions. There is such a disconnect from the impact we're having, ending, and irrevocably changing lives. And to me, it's just kind of another day at the office. It's also calm and silent. But now is where we're going to start working on our actual mission. I can see the fires from that old SAM pair down there. But if we look down, I can't really... Well, I can kind of visually see some tanks, but this is not the best way to view that. The tracer fire, though, just glows like a UFO. And in doing this, I'm allowing myself to get entirely too low. I'll probably want to stay above 8,000 feet. I'm telling you, when we're just flying off into pure darkness like this, and that's all I see out the front of my canopy, the illuminated cockpit is surprisingly grounding. Like, that just reminds me, like, okay, you're still here. This isn't some nightmare. Like, just look at what a far-removed experience this is from anything in human evolution. Imagine trying to explain to a caveman what's happening here. It's like, hey, you remember when you got into that beef with Oog and his tribe? Well, we still do that, but we've gotten really, really good at it. Alright, so it looks like those are tanks, all in formation at the different intersections. Alright, what I'm going to do is go into the stores here, and we're going to use a couple of CBU-97 cluster munitions to try and take these guys out. It's in the middle of the city. They're a little bit isolated. Some cars are probably going to be collateral damage. You know what? Whatever. I'm not paying for it. And basically, we're going to make this a CCIP drop where we're going to pretty much dive bomb them and drop that cluster munition and get out of dodge and watch. Now, the issue with this is it's kind of when we're in the most danger. If these AAA emplacements are going to spot us and have a chance to actually hit us, it's going to be while we're doing this. Let's make sure we got these things actually selected. I'm going to put it right over where that dot is. Doesn't look like they've spotted me yet. Okay, I just dropped it. Didn't really see exactly where it was, so I don't know how effective this is going to be. We're gonna do it. Oh, they're starting to deploy those submunitions. Up. I'm seeing fires down there. I'm seeing fires. Let's find out how effective that actually was. Whoop, I just saw a secondary explosion. So it looks like a fire there. We may have gotten all three. I think we got at least two. I'm gonna have to circle back and do a BDA, or battle damage assessment. Look at that, I can see the fires burning, the secondary explosion. Now there's glow coming from down there that's almost as bright as my own instruments. Okay, let's have a closer look at what that actually accomplished. More things exploding. Yep, I can definitely see the burned wrecks of tanks. It looks like we might have gotten all three with that. That was beautiful. That was beyond what I expected. Wait. We've got something over there. Oh no, that tank didn't die. I mean, it's heavily damaged, I think. But it managed to limp away. Whatever that is... Oh, that's a different vehicle. Okay, so we got two of them down, one heavily damaged. That's okay. That's a very good result. That's out of the fight. Remember, we still had 2 tanks hanging out in the fields here. So that one right there, we'll put a point track on him in case he moves. I don't know if they're aware of everything that's going on. They're just sitting out here in the field watching the tracers, same as us. And they don't know that there's a hunter in the sky that can see them just fine. Or maybe they do at this point. But anyway, we're going to start using our GBU-12s. Or actually, no, I forgot. We still have another Maverick left. Well, with that being the case, we are going to bring this... Oh, we're a little bit close. We are a little bit close.
Warning, autopilot.
But we should be fine. Maverick out. We've got an impact there. I lost TGP for a second. But we don't need to keep the lock on TGP in order for the Maverick to get there. What we're seeing on the left screen is its own Seeker Head's TV camera, so that's no issue. Now, we're going to change our tactics a little bit for this guy here, because in addition to our Mavericks, and we have 1 cluster bomb left, we are also carrying 4 GBU-12 laser-guided bombs. And now's where things start to seem maybe a little bit more unfair than they even already did, because we can just hang out here sitting pretty at over 10,000 feet. And as long as we switch to CCRP, Continuously Calculated Release Point, we can drop them from right up here. We don't even have to dive. So right now we're pointing at this tank, and we've got this reticle right here. We basically want to try and keep that line as close to the center of the circle as possible. And that's going to help us make sure we're flying directly over the target at like 11,000 feet. So some of these, I'm seeing tracers go higher than this, but we'll probably be fine. It'll be pretty hard for them to hit us accurately. Famous last words. And the advantage to a laser-guided bomb, as opposed to like a JDAM, is that a JDAM is GPS-guided, so it gets the coordinates from the TGP and will drop based on that. But it can't change that in flight. Whereas a laser-guided bomb, as long as we have this guy tracked here, our laser designator can get the bomb to change its direction in flight. Now that doesn't really matter right now, but if it were to start moving, a JDAM would hit the same spot anyway, where the laser-guided bomb would be able to correct. So we're going to watch the show. White-hot thermal mode makes this look really, really satisfying. And there it goes. It's like playing the AC-130 level in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, except we're actually in control of it, and we actually have to, put in all the work to make this happen. So I'm just going to kind of move this around and look for more stuff. What? Hello? Hello there. Oh, wait. Look at that. Well, first of all, there's a tank standing guard in front of this, but they've amassed a little base inside the stadium. I'm seeing what looks like, yep, there's some little armored vehicles, a whole bunch of trucks, camo netting, other vehicles. They've got a staging area in there. Okay, well, I know that there were guys by these ancient ruins outside the city. Where were they? I see one of them, I don't see the other. Maybe he's behind one of these walls. But we're gonna just quickly drop some more of those laser-guided bombs, and then we'll head back up and see what's up with the stadium. Look at this. I was not wrong. The sun has completely set. I don't even know when that happened. Ooh, but that's eerie. I've just noticed the AAA has all stopped firing. Can they actually run out of ammo in this? Oh, there's somebody. Do they know something I don't? Well, maybe, because they are actually pretty close to the guys we dropped the cluster bomb on before, so they're probably a lot more aware of the situation than others. Alright, pickle. So that's another laser-guided bomb headed towards this guy in the ruins. There is civilian traffic passing right in front of him in the ruins. Probably waiting to hide there so that, you know, they'll all be in the dark and can ambush people coming up the road, like if a rebel convoy comes or something. So we're just going to continue watching him to see what happens. Ooh, some AAA actually going pretty close in front of me there. That might have just been a fluke, or somebody might have me. Actually a little bit concerned about that. Looks like guns are starting to fire again. Maybe they have actually been able to see me this whole time. Oh, and yeah, you were behind some trees. I love how I've just been, like, slowly climbing higher and higher for this entire round as, like, things get closer and closer to actually being a threat. Here it comes. We are holding down the release button. And pickle. And in a couple seconds, that should be yet another dead tank. I have lost count of how many we've destroyed. There were 5 on the road, 2 more in the roundabout, 2 more in the field. So that's 9, 10, the one we just bombed, and this, I believe, will make 11, right? Pretty good haul, and that's the thing about the A-10, is that it's able to remain on station friggin' forever and just haul in all this ordnance and deal all this damage. The only thing is that it is slow and heavy and basically a sitting duck if it's like a less than ideal environment. I mean, if there were fighters in the air, forget about it. So here's what I'm thinking right now. It would be very, very tempting to drop a cluster bomb right in the middle of this stadium. It's not a good thing to do, really. Because even though there's probably no civilians in there right now, there's a lot of civilian traffic that some of these sub-munitions I think will try and lock onto. It's a very heavily dense, like, urban area. And the thing is, these cluster munitions don't always explode, so imagine having unexploded ordnance on a soccer field. That would suck. So right now,
pull up.
I'm dropping a laser-guided bomb. That might not hit. That might not hit. Oh god, I hope it's able to thread the needle and go over this scoreboard. I did not think this through. I did not think this through at all. Hopefully the angle is such that it comes almost straight down. I'm pointing a little far forward just to get that extra few feet. There we go. Oh, it actually did. I could practically see it go past the scoreboard. That was crazy. Ooh, and look. They felt that. That damaged a bunch of trucks. They've gotten closer together. Although the armor is unfazed. You know what? Maybe we don't need a cluster bomb. Everybody knows that the A-10 is capable of dropping JDAMs and cluster bombs, but did you know it actually has a gun on the front? Oh my god, this is so stupid. We are exposing ourselves to so much risk. But you know what? We do it for the civilians. We do it for the civilians, and so that the stadium can continue to be used afterwards. Oh my god, this is dumb. Right in the center of the field. It's just dumped rounds all over the place. We got nothing to save it for. You can see some of that armor starting to burn. Yep. Let's pull out. Oh, we are so low. We are so low. Below 2,000 feet. Let's use all the speed we built up in that dive. Engines full throttle. In case anybody spotted us, which it looks like they might have. I'm kind of evading, moving up and at an angle. I'm just looking back to see if anybody shoots at us. All these guns have just stopped firing because they're trying to reassess. Like, did anybody see him? Did anybody see that? Oh, and it looks like somebody's actually got us. They must have some kind of night optics down there. Oh, we are so slow. We are so slow. I climbed too high too fast. But I gotta keep these maneuvers going. Just keep moving. We are at full throttle. Oh, but we're such a fat plane. I mean, less fat now that we've dropped a bunch of our ordnance. It's a good thing we're doing this last.
Pull up, pull up.
Oh, just look at that. Wait, let's get the TGP off of there. Can we see it ourselves? Look at all those fires burning down there. It's like having a nice little candle holder right in the middle of the city. There's some secondary explosions going off. We regained some speed, regained some altitude. I don't see any tracers really coming at us, so I think we've successfully evaded. We're actually at a really nice twilight now, where for a while everything went totally dark, but now there's just, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's just the slightest tinge of light where we can barely make out the horizon. We've experienced a nice variety of conditions in this mission. You gotta appreciate the beauty of nature when you're doing this. I think we have like one Hydra rocket. Yeah, there's our one cluster bomb and one Hydra rocket hanging out. But other than that, we're completely out except for gun. So we could look around and maybe see if there's anything at the airfield we can do. I mean, there's no air defenses anymore. At the airfield, I can see all these fires burning. I love how these little spots where things like were destroyed are still hot, but hello. You can barely see it because there's no thermal signature. Well, that MiG-29 is badly damaged. What about the neighboring one? Okay, they're both pretty well destroyed. So, what's our total haul for this whole thing? We've destroyed a dozen T-72s, I think one more that was badly damaged. We took out an entire base that they were setting up in secret in the stadium. There were those 3 SA-13s and their accompanying dog gears, which means they don't even have short-range air defenses anymore. And just like a whole bunch of little targets of opportunity that got killed by those bombs and gun runs. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, that was my first attempt at a night run in the A-10C2, and I really hope I've been able to convey more successfully here than in other videos the comfy side and the creepy side of this job, you know? Because ultimately at its heart, this is a job simulator, but I was really inspired by a comment one of you left on the last DCS video where you said how all of this, like, comfy commentary was juxtaposed against the sinister nature of what's actually going on here. And, you know, just being able to be up here in the clouds, feeling the gentle motion of the aircraft, all these calming lights and gizmos and sounds, and just knowing what it is we're doing, you know, the fires and the AAA tracers up into the air. You know, the terror of being in the dark, knowing if any of these pretty little lights hits us, we're going to be spinning out of control in a fiery wreck in seconds. A lot of fun. In fact, on the ride back, I think I'm just going to turn off this HUD and just kind of appreciate this for what it is. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.